It's been proposed.
All right, I'm ready for your presentation.
Dan gets
All right.
everything he wants, it seems.
Yeah.
Because he's sponsored by Big Pharma.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other resources.
He's a demon, basically.
Yeah.
He's also in
All
the
the
World
demons seem to get
Financial
in
Organization.
Yeah.
And then they stay in there, like
Okay.
Newsom, we couldn't get him out.
Okay, we're ready for your
All right.
presentation.
So I'm Todd Madison.
Absolutely.
I'm the San Diego County Chair for Californians for School Choice. So we're putting an initiative on the ballot to actually make true school choice in California. So I always start with this one just because it kind of reminds me of why we're doing this. And most of the groups that I'm in, they're doing it for their kids, their grandkids, something like this. This is my family. The second one from the left is my wife. I know it's hard to tell. And this one is the one that people think looks most like me. But my kids are now, the youngest is now a senior in high school. They all went through public school. They've all done great. But I think that a real key part of that is the fact that we are fortunate in that my wife could stay home, take care of the kids, volunteer in the schools. I had time to be at meetings, all this stuff. I think that really the fundamental issue we have here is that the system is designed to work if you can afford to make it work.
Right.
And it doesn't work for those that are struggling or have more problems. So we need to fix that.
You can keep it there.
So what is school choice? So school choice is allowing parents to choose the best education for their kids. Not necessarily, nowadays I get people who kick back to me, well, we have school choice. You can send your kids to a private school anytime you want. And to me, that's kind of like saying, well, you can buy a Porsche anytime you want. Yeah. Okay, sure, where do I get the money? That's allowing school choice only for people who can afford it is just the epitome of inequality. Our education system spends a lot of time talking about inequality and how terrible that is and so on and so forth, and I agree with them to some extent, but there's nothing you could do better than to have school choice. Money follows the child, it puts parents in charge of their education. We had a little talk out here in the driveway before you guys came about homeschooling. More and more parents these days are homeschooling their kids because they want to have control over what their kids learn, not necessarily leave it in the hands of whoever just makes whatever decisions at whatever level as to what their kids are going to learn. So that allows for education that fits the parents' values. One of the fundamental problems we have with education these days is that there are no morals, ethics, and very little academics involved in it nowadays, not like it used to be. So COVID-19, had some good impacts. It's raised the awareness from parents of what is happening in schools. We've seen more than anything in the last year, parents actually paying attention to what's going on with their kids in schools. I've been involved as an activist in Oceanside Unified for over a decade. I can tell you that, we have 36,000 parents in Oceanside. I was in charge of the Parent Advisory Committee for a while, 3 years. And during that time, we routinely got maybe 40 or 50 parents. So 36,000 parents, 40 or 50 cared enough to show up at a meeting once a month for a couple hours. We provided pizza and childcare, couldn't make it any easier. And you'd get 30 or 40 people who would show up. Nowadays, when they have Zoom meetings, and last summer particularly, they would get 1,000 people showing up. So people are finally paying attention to what's actually going on with their kids. They're looking over their shoulders. They're seeing what the curriculum is. You can see that in the protests that are happening throughout. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to all the school board protests. I've been a part of many of those. Somebody asked me.
Terrorists.
Somebody asked me if I've been on TV. You've probably seen me carrying a sign on KUSI and K Fox and your Fox whatever it is and all this stuff. I'm on there, and they interview me every once in a while about parent stuff. But it's great. It's great to see. We've had all that attention. So the bad thing, though, is we saw the special interests control whether the schools were open or not. It has nothing to do with the science. As much as they tell you it's the science and the data, nothing to do with that. It's all about power. It's all about the fact that they have your kids and they can do anything they want, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what it's. So the agenda-driven education was exposed. We see all the anti-CRT rallies that are happening these days. We see different parents concerned about parts of the curriculum that they don't like, and all of that is really what's problems in education right now. Depression, anxiety, alcohol abuse. I speak around the county. I was on a bill with Summer Steffen a week or so ago, and I've seen her a number of times. And she has this incredibly saddening story to tell about the fact that sexual trafficking is up 300% in San Diego during the COVID thing. And it's largely because people can get online, kids are just locked online all day. And of course, you can be, 50 years old and pretend to be a 14-year-old online. And so they've just seen a huge increase in incidences of that because, the kids are not in school and they're not anywhere where people can take care of them. Parents, how many parents have the luxury of being home with their third grader and helping them go through their school? Not a whole lot. My neighborhood maybe more so than anybody, but in Oceanside, but we're lucky, and I realize that, it's just not that way for most people. So it's crazy what COVID has done.
Well, plus the people that are making these decisions, are these people that are elected or are they appointed?
Well, the decisions are technically made by school boards. School boards are elected. The fundamental problem, though, is that our school boards, in San Diego County, there's 43 school districts. 40 of those are owned by the teachers union. The school boards elect those people. I ran for school board in Oceanside in 2020, and I can tell you that my opponent, the incumbent, was a Republican, and he actually had his marketing funded by the teachers union, of all things. The union was so desperate to beat me in this that they funded a Republican, which I don't know if it's ever happened before. It's not what they do. And so they had people out, stuffing mailboxes and waving signs and all this stuff for this guy, because they did not want me to win, because I've spoken out so many times. I've spoken 60 times to the Oceanside school board, and they know what would happen. If I was in place, we would start paying attention to what works for kids, not necessarily what works for them.
Now, didn't Audra, our local heroine that speaks at a lot of these boards and meetings, didn't she and some other people take over Poway school board meeting and elect their own representatives on the spot and fire the board?
Some of my people were involved in that.
So that's possible.
Yeah, that one, you can see the media spin on that. The media said that they forced their way into the boardroom and threatened everybody and so on. I have people who were there, and they said that the door was held open by the district employees for them.
Now, isn't that a legal action that
Kind of
they
like the
took?
Capitol,
Yeah.
letting the deplorables in.
Legal is all dependent on how much money you have to hire lawyers and fight it. You can get out of anything. School boards have very expensive. Oceanside Unified spends $1 million a year on retainers for lawyers.
Right.
So just try fighting that if you're
Well,
a parent.
I've been hearing about bonds, taking a bond out and a
I was just gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
because I've been watching some videos on that and how a mother did that to a superintendent, made her responsible for $40 million of the budget for that school, and then the school board hung the superintendent out to dry, and they filed a claimant, and I've got it written down because I wanted to speak on that.
Yeah.
So what we could do along those lines, and the superintendent has to she's responsible for the $40,000 retainer or the bond or whatever. So that was pretty scary for the other board members because they kind of stepped back.
Yeah. I don't know that.
I'd like to let him continue with this presentation, so then if at the end we can ask questions.
Sure. You can take it. Yeah. So anyway, so where are we at? So I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2012 we voted to raise taxes on ourselves. Proposition 30. We raised the sales tax by 0.5%. We raised income taxes on quote high income people. We raised since then. Education funding has gone up at 3 times the rate of inflation. 3 times the rate of inflation, up $5,000 per student. Meanwhile, here's what we rank: 42nd in math, 41st in reading, 45th in science. We're almost at the bottom of the states.
Of the 50 states, California is in the 40s.
Yeah.
Can you let him finish his
No,
presentation?
let him ask now.
I would like to have him finish his presentation
I
so
think
that we
short
can ask questions.
are okay.
I do
Let's
too.
not control this whole thing.
You're outvoted,
Marco.
Marco.
So yes, we are very near the bottom. We spend somewhere around $22,000 per student. Average class size is 27 kids. That means we spend over $500,000 per class. But yet we are at nearly.
I want a refund.
Bottom. Well, and that's what we're going to do. That's what this is about. So, so what are we doing to fix this? You would think that the educational establishment would be going, oh my God, we've got a crisis. We need to figure this out, right? But no.
No.
What they're doing is they're calling parents who are advocating for their kids domestic terrorists. You know, if you stand up at a school board and you say, you call out the school board or the district about what they're doing, you're a domestic terrorist. And that's actually supported by the White House. The White House was involved in the process.
They backed off of that though, I think those
Well,
terms.
they backed off and said that that it was a mistake, yes, but they did it and the White House reviewed it before it happened.
It
So-
actually caused Virginia to flip back to red.
Yeah, that's actually, so meanwhile, education's getting worse. Our NAP scores, which is the national test we take, dropped for the first time since the 1970s. It's a matter for national concern. It's never happened before. So the politicians in Virginia, in this case, said, I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. No, absolutely not. Of course not. You know, we shouldn't have parents involved in determining what their kids should learn. Result, more and more recalls are happening. You know, we're seeing them all over the place. And in Virginia, they lost. So, so exactly. I mean, it is, I think, a key issue for the coming election in 2022, I think, is this. I'm hoping that the Republican Party will take it up and run with it as an opposition to the Democrats, but, you know, we'll see what happens there. So, schools are failing our kids. What's the solution? School choice. So, we need to fund the student, not the school. How does this work? So the benefits, you know, it gives, so what we're going to do is we're going to take all the funding the state spends on education. It's called Prop 98 funding. We're going to split that up. We're going to give that to the kid in an educational trust fund. We're going to let the parent allocate that to any accredited tuition. So you will get that. That is actually $14,000 a year right now. That'll go up in the future. That will get put into this trust fund, and the parent will make a choice at that point. Do I want to spend it? Do I want to keep them in public or charter? Sure enough, you can do that. No problem. We aren't, contrary to what the union will tell you, we are not decimating the public education institution. Our intent is not to kill public education. Probably what will happen, but that's not our intent. So our intent is really just to let parents make the choice. So if you want to spend that $14,000 on private school, if you want to spend it on homeschool, if you want to spend it on faith-based schools, you know, any accredited institution, you can do it. So what we all know, what any rational person knows, is that if you tie the money to performance, things get better. That's how it works. You know, it's just a basic economic fact. If in my district, the superintendent of Oceanside Unified made $340,000 last year, and I can tell you that if she understood that if her parents were not happy and they left, she wouldn't be able to make $340,000 a year, she would change. Her opinion would change at that point. She would start working for us.
Like super sharp
Man,
I was talking to some of you guys out in front with us. So the superintendent of the Ontario Montclair School District, he's the highest paid superintendent in the state of California. 80% of his kids are on free and reduced lunch. So 80% of them are making below $32,400 a year for a family of 4. So anybody want to guess how much money he made? And you guys that know.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Upwards of 300,000.
upwards of 300,000. You got it. Any other guesses?
450.
450? Do I hear 450?
Five.
Going once, going twice?
Five.
$728,000.
Oh shit! Shoot.
$728,000.
more than Fauci?
Yeah, what was his position again?
Superintendent of Ontario Montclair. It's a school district of about 16,000 kids in San Bernardino County.
Amazing.
So, yeah. So, just by the way, too, has anybody here ever heard of Transparent California website? So, Transparent California publishes the pay data of all the public employees in the state of California. They have 23 million pay records on there. If you look on there, you can find you can find Wilma Wooten. She's on there. You can find whoever you want on there. And I'm the research director, so if you look at that, I'm the guy that posts all the data there, which is why I
Very
know
good.
all the details on this.
You got a gold star.
Yeah, so
What was the
anyway,
name of that site again?
Transparent California.
Okay.
.com?
.org.
.com.
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 Thank
Check
you.
it out.
Todd.
Yep. So, so one of the critical things about our thing, you know, people, you hear about vouchers. You know, vouchers have kind of a bad name. You know, if you, anti-school choice people, oh, that's a voucher. We don't like vouchers. I don't know why, but vouchers have a bad name. But the difference between ours and a voucher, if you're given a voucher to attend school and you don't use it, it goes away. Just like if you get a gift card and don't use it. In our case, it's not a voucher, because what happens is if you don't use the money in there, it accumulates and you can use it for college or vocational school. So if you are a private affidavit homeschool parent, which means that you're teaching your kids in your living room by yourself and you're not hiring a teacher or anybody to do anything there, you're just doing it yourself, you would end up with $180,000 or more to spend on college or vocational school at the end of the process when they graduate. And that's no increase in taxes. That's just the money we already spent. Talk about your refund. You want a refund?
Yes.
There you go. You know, so homeschool parents are saints. I mean, they take their time off, they put the effort into it, they do all this stuff to teach their kids, and right now all our legislature does is kick them. All they do is just repeatedly set rules and regulations, and you know, now there's the big tizzy about whether they're going to require vaccinations, you know, and all this stuff. And
For homeschooling?
Yeah.
well,
Trying to go after them.
Yeah,
Well,
because
it
the
would-
1400 is probably gonna have a string called vaccination attached to it, but
Well,
that's just a guess on my
ours
part.
won't have strings with it because our money it belongs to the child. It's not government funds. I hear all this, you know, about, well, government money always comes with strings. Anybody here on Social Security right now? You get a check, right? Any strings come with it? Nope. So-
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I
well, there might be.
I
but,
can't
yeah.
make over a certain amount of money
Yeah,
and
yeah,
still
yeah.
collect.
But no one tells you how you can spend your money
Right.
with Social Security, and that's the
That's
same with
right.
ours. We're
Yeah,
depositing it in
I mean,
an educational
If we
savings
don't have
account.
the vaccine, they'll take
Yeah.
out social security.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
So you know, people say, well, the government could do this, the government could do
I
this.
hope
Sure.
not. I don't.
I mean, the tyrant in Sacramento could do anything. Executive orders, obviously, you can do anything,
Your
right?
executive
So we
order.
can't keep that from happening. We're not reforming the entire state of government in California. But on the other hand, what we have designed here is similar to Social Security in that the money goes to the child, it belongs to the child, they allocate it wherever they want. We actually have language in there that prevents the government from making the funding of the account dependent on mandates. So they can't curriculum mandate, they can't prevent it because there's a religious component to the schooling, they can't prevent it for healthcare mandates.
How does the teachers union feel about all this?
Yeah.
Boga boga.
They are like, if we qualify this for the ballot, they are likely to spend $100 million against it.
Yeah.
So is this wordage or written into the initiative about no strings attached? Okay.
Yeah, that's in the initiative. So we've got it, we're approved by the Secretary of State, we're out there circulating it. We've been out there for 3 months now, getting signatures. I don't know if you saw us at the Worldwide Rally for Freedom, we were there, last weekend. I was at the Homeschool Expo. I'm gonna be, this is National School Choice Week this week. I don't know if you guys know, but this is a big week for us. I'm speaking 5 times in 7 days, different things. This is the first one. I got another one tomorrow, another one the next day, another one on Thursday, another one on Friday.
Well, thanks for fitting
So,
us in.
Yeah, but,
So you want signatures?
well, yeah, so that's really where we're going, is that we need signatures. So we have support, unlike most past school choice initiatives. 51% of Californians are in favor of school choice right now, and that's without even knowing us. Minorities support us. 71% of African Americans. They get the idea that they are not served correctly by our schools. I mean, when I was in charge of Oceanside Unified District Parent Advisory Committee, I can tell you that everyone in that room looked like me. There were no minorities there. And the fundamental issue is that the minorities they gotta work hard. They gotta work hard to make a living. I mean, they just don't sometimes have the advantages and benefits that some of us other people have. And they're all working 2 jobs. They're all, both spouses are working. They don't have time to go to a school meeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So this would give them the power. I was at the Vista Unified School Board meeting during a protest, and at that entire board meeting, there was one guy who would not wear a mask, and he had a medical exemption. He had a card, so he was. They let him into the.
What are you listening to here?
Yeah.
Almost.
Do you need the security team?
Just close the
Well,
door.
Get us straight, homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
A woman with a shopping cart.
yeah.
That narrows it down.
At least it's not a shotgun.
Sometimes they make their way in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh my goodness. That was entertaining.
So
I don't know who let her in.
so at Vista, there were
Marco did it.
50 parents.
Oh.
There were 50 parents there, and one guy would not wear a mask, even though he was legally allowed to not wear a mask. And the school board just got up and walked out. They just said, "We're ending this meeting." They got up and they walked out
Because of
So-
the one person not
because
wearing
of the one person not wearing a mask.
chickens.
And so I can tell you that those 50 parents represented about $1 million in revenue to that school district. And if 50 parents could have walked out the other door and taken $1 million with them, that school board would have been chasing them down. What can we do for you? How can we take care of you?
Yeah.
Hey, come on in.
We're in the middle of recording something.
We are.
Okay.
So then, what should I do?
Surprise!
Surprise.
See you on a beach somewhere. Following me.
Can we still go to in person to the school board meetings?
No, some are in person, some are not. So the governor keeps extending the executive order that lets them get out of being in person.
Cause that's how I got involved, was Terry invited me to a school board meeting. And I had a Matt Baker moment where I yelled
Oh,
at
yeah.
those guys. And,
Oh, yeah.
We all did that. We were like screaming up there and carrying on.
Which school board?
Unified, San Diego Unified.
San Diego Unified, yeah.
Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Diego Unified.
Park and
Up on Normal Street.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, in a way, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I like the Zoom meetings because I have attended more Zoom meetings around this county. I've gone to, I don't know, a bunch of San Diego Unifieds. I've gone to, almost every district meeting in the county just because I can. I can do it from my office. So it's kind of nice. But, the in-person thing is a good thing too, to make them face actual people
Absolutely.
who are not happy with them. Has some value for sure.
And it was great on the YouTube video. They have a YouTube stream, so they're streaming it live,
Mhm.
and then afterward you can just go to the YouTube channel and share it with all your friends, everybody you know.
Mhm.
That's very valuable.
Yeah. So what we need right now, is we need people to help. We need people to sign. It's a ballot initiative. We need 1.5 million signatures. And so that's a big thing to do. Recall Newsom got 2 million, so I think it's out there, but, so we can do it, but it's a big thing. So we need not only, of course, everybody here to sign tonight, if you could, that would be awesome, if you feel like it. But we need people to get out and get those signatures too. We need people out there, like at the Worldwide Rally for Freedom, the Homeschool Expo, the various events. Did anybody go to the Freedom Rally?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, wasn't that awesome? We had 3 school choice tables there.
That was our biggest numbers, I think, as
Yeah.
far as a rally in San Diego.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, that was a great thing.
Much bigger than the Liberty, with Del Bigtree and
Oh, the
JFK.
Heartbeat of
RFK,
Freedom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there,
Yeah.
I was there too, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great event also. I mean, there were a lot of people there, but
Yeah.
the revival was great.
there's also a paid event, so I think less people probably showed up for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the revival was surprising actually. I've been to, I don't know, a bunch of different meetings there at Waterfront Park, and that was just tremendous. So we need, social media. I don't know if anybody here does the Facebook thing, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. We're on all those places. Follow us, share us, like us, all that stuff. So summary is schools are failing our kids. School choice is the way we're going to fix it. If anybody here thinks that they're going to fix this by electing good board members, forget it. It's not happening. The unions own that. They will throw hundreds. There's a board member in San Diego Unified named Becca Williams who's running. I don't know if any of you are in, I think it's District 3.
Yeah,
District
she's
C
local.
or
She's
something
local,
like that.
isn't she?
Yeah, I think it's C is what they call it here. But if you see her on the ballot, you need to vote for her. I've spoken with her on a number of different events. She's an actual parent who cares about actual kids, and she's not owned by the union. But so go ahead, vote for the right board members. But I can tell you that is just a huge uphill battle. What we really need is people to just be able to say, I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to take my money somewhere else.
No. Is that Becca Williams you said?
Yeah. Yeah, so just like you would at Walmart, you know, or anywhere else, you just say, you know, thanks, you keep doing your thing, I'm gonna go somewhere else. That's what's gonna change education, so now is the time, and any questions? Yeah.
Well, for the record, with her, how far does she go into this? Is she really astute with the vaccine issues of,
Becca?
yeah, does she really make a stand, not just for choice, but her own personal feelings? Is she pro these injections, or she's against?
Oh, no, she's definitely an anti-vaccine person,
Okay.
anti-mask, anti-vaccine. I think it's Becca for school board, maybe, I forget what the website is, but I've spoken with her on a number of different events, and she's got her head in the right place, and she's definitely in favor of advocating for what parents want for their kids all the way around.
And even
School
if-
choice is really a small part of what her, I mean, when it comes to a school board member, it's a little bit of a, you know, I mean, can a school board member advocate for school choice? It's kind of like, you know, would Walmart advocate for you going to shop at Target, you know? But I can tell you that I've talked to a lot of school board members about this, and there is nothing more powerful there is for a school board member than having the power of money behind them. You know, I've been on corporate boards, I've been the CEO of a company, and I can tell you that when you can go to the people who make decisions about money and you can say, either we do this or our customers leave, that is the end. You know, that's the end of the conversation. That's the important thing. So if a school board member could say, either we buy more microscopes for science classrooms with that money, or parents are gonna leave, then that's gonna be, you know, the power in their pocket. So we need to help them as well. So that's it. Any questions? While we have
Any
questions,
answers?
I'm gonna pass around these petitions.
That's what we need answers.
And if anybody is, if you're a San Diego County registered voter, these are for you. Let me get you some pens.
And then the thing is, you know, what they're looking for is, you know, people to help
I signed it too.
get the petition signed and stuff like that, so if you
Well,
wanna
yeah, that's-
volunteer.
I did the same.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Greg?